And welcome. It's episode 110, Red Leaf Retrocast. I'm JD. Joey, your theme pick today. What you got?
Yep. Shooters first versus third. We got two games, came out 1 year after the other, and just trying to see in that era if first person or third person is better.
Yeah, these shooter games aren't usually my bag. Oh, well, first person aren't. I'm more of a third person guy, and this was kind of an experiment to against myself. It's like, which one will I like more? I have an expectation, so we'll see. Very fun topic. Kind of inspired me for mine as well.
Yeah, well, I'm actually the opposite. I prefer first person over third, so we'll see what happens here.
Good deal. Colin, you're also here.
Yes, I am.
Okay, well.
And that's it.
All right, excellent. So I guess I should update everybody on my PlayStation 5, since it's all I can do these days.
I still don't believe you have one.
I have one. It is fucking fantastic. It takes up the entire space of that particular part of the shelf I had reserved.
Get ready, folks. It's another 20 minutes.
No. Come on. It'll go at least 40. But I've stuck. The short version is I've stuck with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Ooh, how's that?
Joey, you remember like Up Your Arsenal and Going Commando? Those
Yes.
couple games of Ratchet and Clank.
Yes.
It's very much like that again, but the game is a lot easier than it is. So I actually had to bump the difficulty up to hard from medium. I don't know whether because I've played like 9 of these games at this point. I just know how to like string the weapon combos together, but the boss battles are certainly, they feel pretty easy. It's very forgiving, unlike the first game where you had like 3 hits forever. This one, nothing like hits too hard. Not a lot of so there's a move in it called like a phase shift. Press circle and your character can, phase in and out of existence temporarily. It makes you go a little bit quicker. Much of the game mechanic, I think, for Ratchet and Clank makes that kind of broken, because so often it's strafing and jumping at the right times for enemies. This has that plus jet boots, so it's just like nothing can ever hit you. So I really had to put the difficulty up, otherwise it felt like I was on easy mode for the game. That's a big critique I have. I don't know if that's good or not. Once I put it on hard, it was fine. Like, I had no issue. It felt like an old Ratchet and Clank game. But it definitely felt pretty easy before doing that. So that's my short Ratchet and Clank review for Rift Apart.
Were any of the games really hard, though? Like,
I thought in sections and some of the boss battles, like the first one especially, the original, not the remake version or remaster or whatever they want to call it. The first one was definitely hard. There were sections in the past games that I thought that got kind of difficult. I guess overall, maybe not. This one, I just feel like there isn't even sections that are particularly tough. Maybe I'm out to lunch. I don't know. But really good.
I don't really remember anything being too difficult. I remember them being really, really fun, but nothing too hard.
It's definitely fun. There's a couple planets that really change up the formula of Ratchet and Clank. So, for those that don't know, we have covered a couple Ratchet and Clank games. I think we've covered the first one and the second one. Yeah, you essentially go to different planets and you traverse them and it splits in 2 directions. One direction's your main mission. The other direction is generally for the second mission on the planet / it gives you an objective. In Rift Apart, they kind of tweak that formula where like one planet you go to and it feels like it's a complete open world, which is kind of cool. Where you first traverse, your first initial mission is to you're stuck on one side of this planet, and then once you kind of go through this gauntlet of enemies. Then you utilize the jet boots and you fly over to the rest of the planet, and it's got this big open world formula to it where you just have these jet boots, and you're there's a big mech in the background walking around. It has a library on top of it, kind of funky. But you're essentially collecting things, and it's a good departure from that Ratchet and Clank formula. So that planet really stuck out to me. And they try to make each planet super unique and different from the other, as to get away from that split path formula that so many Ratchet and Clanks have had over the years. Really appreciate that part to it. The rift mechanic, where you hit L1 and there's like pieces of the universe like breaking, and you can snap yourself quickly to where a rift is breaking, and they put some platform elements into it that was kind of cool. When there's like a group of enemies attacking, there's like certain other areas in this battle zone that you're in that you can rift over instantaneously. Very cool, because this mechanic seemed like it wouldn't be possible without the modern consoles or modern technology to pull it off the way it is able to snap seamlessly during battle and turn yourself in different directions. It's a neat little mechanic they put in there, and such a heavy part of the game's plot too.
I wonder if they had that mechanic in mind, just kind of pull it off earlier.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, especially with the initial like PS3 Ratchet and Clanks that came out, those couple that came out for them. What were they? What were those titled? Whatever. PS3 Ratchet and Clanks. There was 2 of them, and then like a DLC game you could get. That was a few hours. Yeah, I definitely highly recommend Rift Apart. It's lived up to my expectations. And then I loaded up Gran Turismo 7. This game.
Oh boy.
This game has been in the news a lot lately. And
So I've heard.
Yeah, are you guys familiar with what's happened with Gran Turismo 7? You have not,
what
Joey?
No.
It's like there's like an always online DRM thing going on. And it's causing a lot of people problems who just want to play single player.
Oh, that sucks.
So yeah, it's a single player racing game that has 2 modes that you can go online and race people. So that's, that there's nothing totally different from Gran Turismo 5 in that aspect. I feel like I'm still going through the tutorial, and I've played like, I don't know, we'll just say like 4 or 5 hours, just to put a number out there. There's a thing called the cafe, and it definitely feels like a game I should have a bottle of wine and just sip while I play this. And I've seen a lot of criticism to that, where your missions are completely tied to this cafe mode, where this dude will come in and say, hey, I want you to collect these 3 cars, go do these races to get those 3 cars. I'm like, okay, I got no problem with that. They've given the game a sense of direction. It wants you to teach you the history of cars. I suppose if you're not like into that, you can kind of skip over it and just do the races, and that's fine. A major issue behind that is a lot of these races have specific cars, and very quickly I found out that you buy a car or you get a car from a previous race, and you have to tune it up to get it to a certain spec. I guess if you're good enough to at the racing game to begin with, you don't need to tune it up too much, but it says like recommended 500 power points or PP. And this car that you've gotten in the past is only like 400. Okay, well, I have to spend 30,000 game credits to get this car up to 500, and then I can actually compete or get close to it. The problem is there was an update after initial release where the people from Gran Turismo or Sony, I don't know who made the decision for this, but they made an update, and the I got this game a week after release, so I didn't notice the update, but this is what I've read about it. The entire game economy is broken. So instead of a race that initially gave you, say, 10,000 credits, now you're only getting 2,500 or 5,000. So you're getting half the amount. So if I want a new set of tires and it costs, 25,000 credits, I have to race 5 times just to get to that one thing that I need. And cars are sold at real life prices in this game. So they punted that. The races do less. So there's a heavy amount of grinding you need to do. Unless, at least from my experience, if you go the exact route the game wants you to go through this cafe, you should be fine. I have a decent amount of credits where if I only do the cafe, I will be totally fine with how this economy works. What that doesn't allow me to do is ever buy anything else in the game that I actually want. Then I'll have to grind. That's a problem. And of course, the big one is the game must always be online, and I just went through an internet shift where I didn't have internet for like 2 days, essentially. I was running off my phone, so I couldn't play the game. You just can't play the game if you don't have the internet.
That sucks.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Because I had to get a new modem and all this nonsense, and cocks are assholes, whatever. Point is, I didn't have internet for like 2 days. And I was running my laptop through my phone data, that T-Mobile, infinite data, which is nice.
Cool.
Not enough to play my PlayStation 5, though.
Oh, boy.
Not good enough. So yeah, I just couldn't play this game for like 2 days. It was maddening. I was like, I just want to like do these races. Why do I need to be online for this? There's like no good reason for this to even exist. Yeah. So with that aspect, the broken economy, an online mode that has a service, so you have to have the PlayStation Network to do that, anyways, or the PlayStation Plus membership, so you can play online. Like I don't have that, so I can't do those modes anyways. But if I don't have the internet, this game can't function. It's stupid.
That's so dumb.
Yeah. I have huge critiques about the layout and how this game works, but like graphically and how this game plays and the mechanics through the controller and everything else about the game is the best Gran Turismo I've ever played. So it's like, on one hand, it's fucking phenomenal, and on the other hand, it's
so stupid,
plagued by all the things of modern gaming we hate.
Why are they doing that on a console?
You asked a good question, Joey. I don't know the answer to that. To make you buy microtransactions is my best guess.
But the online always need it. Like, why? Is there a big issue of PS5 games being like stolen? Like, I don't understand how that's an issue.
Yeah, I heard somebody that was... I was talking to somebody who's very familiar with just like how PC games function, and the always online kind of update function is there to essentially keep people from hacking the game and modifying it at its base or something. That was how it was explained to me. But on a console, you don't really have to worry about that because the person just has the game for them. They can't distribute it in any way.
Yeah, no, I get it for PC games because most of the time they're going to be online anyway.
Right.
But if you do online, you'll have some kind of anti-cheat built into whatever platform you're playing it off of. So I just still don't know why it has to be always online. I don't know. I don't understand that.
Yeah, and it was still like a 90-something gig download that I had to do. So I'm just...
90 gigs, sheesh.
Oh yeah, they're insane. Like Ratchet and Clank, I think, was 70. Gran Turismo's 90. I think Horizon Forbidden West is 90-something. Like, these games are insane.
Funny thing is, Sony billed themselves as the people who wouldn't give you the inconvenience of all of the always online and needing to could only download to your own console type thing way back when Xbox was touting that.
Well, Colin, that was many, many years ago now, and Xbox was just ahead of the game. They knew the future, and now it's just the concept of like microtransactions and online and the whole Game Pass concept. I mean, that's normalcy now, so now you could just fuck everyone over left and right.
Yeah, but I still don't see always on for solo. That doesn't make sense.
No, that part is like, I don't know what psychologically you're trying to do to the player with that, because the broken economy exists solely so to make you want to buy microtransactions. Like that's why that exists.
That I understand that. That's greed. But I don't understand always on. Like, I don't understand. Me. I guess they couldn't think of a better way of handling it.
Yeah, but the way the controller works, it like you can use the like motion part of the controller to make it like a wheel, and I tried that. Holy hell, that's tough. Because there's no like resistance like an actual wheel would. So I'm just I could just turn the whole wheel like upside down out of nowhere. I'm like, I shouldn't do this. But with the adaptive triggers and how pressurized they are, like each car functions differently with it, and how much tension there is in brakes and gas, and how hard you want to do it. That's really cool. There's an option in the game where you can program the controller. I say program, but just map the controller in different ways. So if you want the gear shifts to be, I don't know, X and square, you can do that, or you can have it as R1 and L1, and it goes up and down. But the adaptive triggers and the way it rumbles is super, super unique and cool. That I've never experienced in Gran Turismo quite this way. I think maybe that was their original idea for 5. And this new controller allows them a lot more uniqueness to make every car you pick different.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I can definitely praise the way the game is made and plays, just not the, I guess, consumer aspect of it all is very egregious. Very bad. That's what I've been up to. My Nintendo Switch has been on ice now. Even though I did just get Disco Elysium Director's Cut for the Switch. Came out last week. Can't wait to dive into that again. I love that game.
Mm-hmm.
So Colin, what's up with you?
I've been playing a lot more games since the last time.
Okay.
I've had some work's been kind of late lately. I've actually been getting home a couple hours earlier than usual.
Hey, all right.
So not only do I get more sleep, I can actually do some gaming. Yeah, I got back into Crosscode because the DLC is out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it came out last year apparently, so I'm looking to get into that. I mean, I had to replay the main ending in order to get the good ending that leads into the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And the endgame puzzles are hard as shit, to the point that even the characters are like, seriously? But they do make you feel accomplished when you solve them. If you ever thought classic Zelda's puzzles were too easy, this game should scratch your itch. And yeah, I've since beaten that again, and it wasn't that hard this time around, but I think that's only because I've already done it once, and the muscle memory is still there. And now to get into the DLC. I maintain that this game is severely underrated. Seriously, give it a look if you haven't already. And I stand by my statement that the main character of this game, Lee, is still my favorite female game protagonist of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I also started playing Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition because it was on sale for cheap on PSN. I mean, I've already beaten it once on PS3, but in this, I got a DLC that lets you play as Duke Nukem.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I did hear about this DLC for it.
Yeah, it even has new dialogue recorded by John St. John himself, so obviously I've been playing it like that. I mean, it's kind of funny because none of the other dialogue changes at all. Like, they'll still call the main character by his name, and then Duke's like, hey, that's not my name, it's Duke Nukem. But yeah, it's so much fun. It's like, this game is testosterone fuel on crack.
Yeah, I remember when that DLC originally came out, they're like, this is what a Duke Nukem game should be in the modern era.
Yeah.
It's just this. Just give me big guns with a lot of shit to shoot. That's it.
Yeah. I think it's only possible because Gearbox was publishing this version this time around, so
Okay.
And they have the rights to Duke Nukem. And the only other first-person shooter games I can think of that pop me up quite like this are Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. It's like the God of War of FPSs. It's like one of the main mechanics of the game is that it gives you points for each creative kill. It's like you kick a guy off a ledge, 50 points. Blow up several dudes at once with an explosive barrel, 50 points per death. Use an energy whip to yank a guy into a bunch of jutted out rebar or an electrified fence, 100 points. And you use those points to buy ammo and upgrades for your weapons, so naturally you'll want to cause as much mayhem as possible. If any game deserves a sequel, it's this one. I mean, the original ending did tease a sequel, but so far nothing's come of it. Although it sounds like the guys at People Can Fly really do want to make a sequel. I mean, yeah, they made Outriders recently, but if possible, they want to make Bulletstorm. And obviously, I've been playing more S.T.A.L.K.E.R Wendan 2, the next step up from Elite Beat Agents, for those in the audience who don't speak Japanese.
Of course, yes. Nobody.
Yeah. Not much more I can say that I haven't already said. I mean, like I said, the scenarios this time around are really unmemorable compared to the previous games. Like, in one, you'll help a sumo wrestler win a championship, or another, you're helping a guy through his job hunt. Or in another, you're helping a kid keep from wetting his bed at night. That was a little weird, but the craziest it gets is when a shoe salesman is trying to rejuvenate his flailing business, so he goes into space and starts selling his stuff to aliens. But yeah, I'm still going to try and beat Oendan 2. I want to see what the bonus stages look like. And I'll probably start playing Rune Factory or Dragon Quest V as my DS game of choice after I'm done with this one.
Okay. Why Rune Factory?
I don't know, it's supposedly it's like Stardew Valley, but with more emphasis on dungeon crawling. So I want to give it a try. Because I love Stardew Valley.
Well then. Okay.
On that note, the guy who made Stardew Valley is in the middle of making a new game called Haunted Chocolatier, which seems to be along similar lines, but with a more paranormal focus, where you have ghosts running a chocolate shop. So that should be interesting.
The chocolate is spookily good.
Yeah,
Are your taste buds haunted with greatness?
Throw in all the Count Chocula puns you can.
Joey.
Yeah. Wait.
Oh.
I've got one more.
Oh, one more. Okay.
I started replaying Descent, while also playing Overload at the same time.
Oh, wow. You're going way back podcast stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I was way even further back with Descent from my childhood. I was just in the mood for it.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah. For those who haven't seen our first-person view episode of the Red Leaf Retrocast, which is number 42 specifically.
Hey, got the numbers on
it was one of our... Yeah. Descent was one of our higher-ranked games on that one. To give the skinny on what it's about, you play as a space fighter pilot in the year 2169 who's been hired by a gigantic mining conglomerate to go to the various mines on the planets across the solar system that have been taken over by robots who have been infected by a virus that causes them to attack their human masters. And your job is to blow up the fusion reactors in the mines to cause them to cave in and prevent the robots from escaping, multiplying, and attacking Earth en masse. Gameplay is very similar to Doom, except since you're in what is basically a space fighter jet, you can move in all directions instead of just on a horizontal plane. You'd think that wouldn't work very well for an FPS, but the developers went all out to make it as smooth as possible, and it worked. I'll admit the graphics haven't held up as well as I remember, but everything else works so well that I can't be upset about it. And it also helps that the controls are customizable, so if you're more used to modern controls, you can absolutely make these controls match those ones. And as for Overload, it's basically Descent with updated graphics and controls. I mean, considering it's made by the same guys who made Descent, it makes sense. And if anything, this is a spiritual successor to that series. My big complaint is that the enemy robot designs are so bland compared to those of Descent. They just don't have the same kind of personality, which is disappointing considering it's the same developers, but it's still a lot of fun to play like Descent, so I'll keep with it for now. And that's pretty much everything I've been playing.
Alrighty, Joey. Got anything for us?
Yeah, I'm just a simple man. I've been playing Lost Ark and Apex Legends. So,
was there a new season for Apex that just came out?
A couple weeks ago. I mean, we're about halfway through the season.
Oh, okay.
I think the split's about to happen.
I forget if you mentioned that or not last cast. I don't think so.
I'm trying to get a win on each legend, and I'm playing all the legends I suck at, and it's becoming very difficult because I suck at those legends. So, yeah, I got like 6 legends left to get a win on. I might give up because I hate them. I don't like playing them. It's hard to play characters you don't like.
Okay, fair enough.
And then Lost Ark, about midway through tier 2 stuff, so I'm going slow compared to most people, but I'm enjoying it.
Okay. I guess with
nice
that,
and simple.
Yeah, I guess with that, we'll get into our topic. As I'm going to play Parappa the Rapper, and you can't stop me. Here it goes. Just hold in the mic. If you want to test me, until you find me the things I'll teach you. Sure to beat you. Nevertheless, you'll get a lesson from teacher. Now kick. Okay. 28 minutes in. We're already here. Much quicker than last time. But last time was very important.
For sure.
It was very important.
Well, it was also a 4-week gap instead of a 2-week.
Right, yeah, a lot more to do. Okay. So Joey, remind us again what the topic is and why you picked it.
It's shooters, first versus third. I picked it because I wanted to find something to do with Gears of War since we haven't played it, and I was trying to pretty much pick a theme around that. Seeing it as a third person, I decided to try to compare it against a game around the same time that was first person to see if it was better or not. So
I'm very disappointed you didn't pick another game instead of this first one we're going to talk about.
Yeah, whatever.
Because I have talked about it in the past being a direct comparison to each other. So you actually inspired me for my next topic, going to include this game.
Oh, there you go. Maybe it was a plan all along.
The theme, I'm going to come up with some name to get this to work.
Oh, boy.
So anyway, our first game, Gears of War, came out in 2006 for the Xbox 360. it's an interesting game, I can say. I mean, it was insanely popular when it came out. It actually knocked off Halo or Halo 2 as being the top seller for a while until one of the other Halos came out and knocked it off.
Yeah, I remember watching E3 in, let's see, November 06. I had moved back from Germany the first time, but I was in Germany when E3 happened. So I was watching E3 in Germany, and the trailer when Gears of War was they did an update trailer on Gears of War, and there's that wild moment where it shows the giant alien just screaming at you. It's huge, and the beefy dudes are just firing at it, and they're all just going, "We must fight and survive," or something along those lines. And it just looked so cool. You kind of just knew this was going to be a big deal when it came out, and it certainly was. It lived up to that.
Yeah, and it's lived on. People love this franchise.
Yeah, so funny enough, the first Gears of War I've ever played was actually 5 when that came out a few years ago. That was the first one I ever played. Because I didn't have an Xbox 360 coming out. And by the way, these early Xbox 360 and PS3 games are now retro.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Wow.
Which is why my second
world.
I pushed the retro status, but we'll get into that when we get to that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild that we've gotten to this point in the podcast where enough time has passed where these two consoles are considered retro now. 15 years from today's date. That's our rule. That's our retro rule. So yeah, I remember that E3 seeing the Gears of War. Pretty rad. And this was the first time I ever played this game.
Yeah, I forgot to
Same.
mention it was developed by Epic Games and published by Microsoft. So, yeah, I don't know, like, it is interesting, the mechanics it brought in, like the cover system. I don't know if any other games really mastered it like this one did.
Okay.
I feel like Uncharted did.
Yeah, Uncharted came out. No, Uncharted was a console
That
launch,
was later.
wasn't it?
I don't think so.
Let's see.
Maybe for the PlayStation.
Yeah, I think
that came out after the Xbox 360.
Uncharted, the first one came out 2007, so a year after.
But yeah, because the PlayStation 3 came out a year after, right? No, PlayStation 3 came out in 06, right?
I don't know.
Yes.
Late 06, I think.
Yeah. Late 2006. So, so Uncharted came out a year after that. That's right. Okay.
So, I mean, but I think that this game also uses the cover as a crutch. Because that's all you do. You just run from one cover to the other.
I remember a game, I think on the PS2, that had the cover system. It was like, I think it was Kill Switch. I think that's the game.
Kill Switch. And
we played this, Joey, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, is it as robust as they did? They did have some cover on it.
Yeah, fuck. How did I remember that? Kill Switch. Yeah, 2003 this came out.
Yeah, it also says take cover it and the subtitle of it.
Yeah. Take cover, take aim, take over.
But Gears really relies on cover. If you don't take cover, you're pretty much dead.
Oh yeah, you die super easy if you're not huddling over a cement bar or something.
And I hate it, like the spray fire while you're still undercover is pretty much useless. Like I think I've only hit like 1 or 2 bullets from that, not even like a good spray.
There was that wild fast enemy that would come at you. I don't know the enemy names like at all in this game. I could not remember them for whatever reason. Yeah, there's like a fast enemy that's on all fours and they come at you. That was the only time I would ever spray.
Yeah, you have to always aim, but it felt like bullets were so weak. It took so many bullets to kill any enemy.
Yeah, kind of like a whole clip at times, right?
Yeah, so you're just like, okay.
Well, the Gears of War added a mechanic in that I think wanted to train you to do this, and that's when you hit the reload button, and if you
The quick reload.
Yeah, if you time it right, it'll do a quick reload, and for a period of time, the rest of that clip will blink white, and that'll make your bullets twice as strong.
Oh, didn't know it did that. I just knew the fast reload.
Yeah, and if you messed up the timing, then you jammed your gun, and
Yeah, it took a while.
it took a little while to bring it back. But yeah, if you hit the quick reload properly, your bullets will be stronger for a period of time. So it was a general strategy to get good at that in order to not use as many bullets and to take down enemies faster.
And you can chainsaw them in half.
You can do that. That was another big aspect of that E3 was the level of violence and sawing through an alien that's coming at you in half, and the blood goes everywhere. Don't you feel so manly, Colin?
So
Not as much as Bulletstorm.
I had to play the Ultimate Edition, which came out in 2016. I don't know if it's just issues on Windows or not, but half the time the chainsaw didn't want to work for me. So I just end up standing there looking like an idiot getting killed.
So, funny you mentioned that. I also played the Ultimate Edition on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's why I did Game Pass.
And that happened to me a number of times as well, where the chainsaw just wouldn't work. I'm like, I'm pressing the button, and the dude just stands there.
Yep, here's like,
Hold
okay.
it down?
Tried holding it, tried pressing it, nothing. He just, literally no animation. He just stood there. You're like, I'm just going to die today.
Yeah, then you just, you essentially immediately die. Because if you, like Joey said, if you're not in cover, you die very fast.
Yeah.
Whether it was
Which
a
is weird,
projectile,
considering how much armor you're wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Especially those boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your opinion on the no health bar? Instead, it was the recovery health thing. I can't recall again. Was this the first game that didn't use the health bar or popularized it?
Maybe that was Call of Duty. I don't know.
I don't know, but
I can't
like
remember.
it was kind of popular around that time for the no health bar.
Yeah, it was definitely around this era. Yeah.
Your only indication was the slowly fading in red gear on the center of the screen.
Okay, what's your opinion on that?
I liked
I don't know.
because at least you didn't have to worry about health throughout. You could just go back to your cover and just have it slowly go away. So, I mean, I didn't mind that.
I didn't like this giant red symbol essentially always in my face.
He's getting shot.
I'm like, fuck. I was like out of cover, and then I get hit like twice, and the red circle's there. I'm like, go away. There was definitely a strategy to its exact placement and how you aim, because you aim straight down the red circle. It's like, okay, all right, at least there's that. But to me, it covered too much real estate, and it got so aggravating. And I don't recall if they continued that after this game. I don't recall that. I don't think on the top of my head they had it in 5. It was just like the fading screen, like it would go black and white, like in the Tomb Raider games or something.
Yeah, having that red thing in the middle did get a little annoying, but I mean, I just ignored it most of the time because if it started turning red, usually I was dead. So once it started showing up, most of the time I was dead anyway.
We'll get into the game itself, or the plot, I guess, is something worth discussing. There's also an entire section I want to bury, because I hated that. I beat this game, by the way, guys.
Wow.
I played the whole thing.
Damn,
I played through like the first act and some of the second. I played the 360 version.
Yeah, it took me about like 10 hours, I would say.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. It was just I just played like a couple hours for like 4 days. That was good. 4 or 5 days. So it was very kind, considering a lot of the games we have played in the past, especially like It's All in the Mind, where they were like all 15-hour games. Like, shit. I did not beat Psychonauts, by the way. Did not happen.
I'm still playing through it. course, I didn't have a chance this week.
Yeah. The weapon variety I thought was extremely lacking.
Yeah, they all seem to be
Yeah.
like, no matter what gun you use, it's like the same gun.
Assault rifle, shotgun, grenade launcher. Grenade launcher you will rarely ever get. You'll have like 3, well, I guess, shells, we'll call them. And then okay, so a big gun you get in points of the game is the Hammer of Dawn, which is this like reticle.
It's a laser sight.
Yeah.
The laser sight for a satellite cannon, basically.
Yeah, really cool that in this alien war that's going on, you just have this super weapon that you point and it gets a triangular position, and then just this giant plasma laser will come to the sky and kill these, few enemies that you can get. That was really cool and fun to use. I only wanted to use that when I had it.
Yeah.
Kind of OP, but that's the whole point to having the Hammer of Dawn.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the name. It's the Hammer of Dawn.
Yeah, you gotta use the hammer. Drop the hammer, brother. I pretty much, when I didn't have that, I pretty much just went through the whole game with some sort of assault rifle, and that was kind of aggravating, because I never really had, there was only like 2 sections I ran out of ammo, and I was forced to use a shotgun consistently. The sniper rifle is a piece of shit. I hate this thing.
That's unfortunate.
What is it called?
I don't know
Lancer?
if I ever used it.
No.
I never used it either.
So the sniper rifle has a lot of issues with it. For example, because it's a sniper and you look in and you can, zoom, the hitboxes are horrible. If the enemy is behind any sort of cover and you know you're hitting them, if that reticle does not turn red, then even if you are on top of the enemy and you know you hit it, because the reticle's not red, it doesn't matter where the hitbox is. It's not registering. You will not hit the enemy. Jeez. So you could just be sitting there with your reticle open, just looking for enemies, but you will more often miss than not, and it's almost an advantage with this gun to just wait till enemies start charging at you, and then you can use this gun for a one-hit kill. That's it. And the pistol's worthless. I hate the pistol. So yeah, it's an assault rifle game.
Yeah.
That was
unfortunate.
Yeah. The AI was very stupid. Borderline
useless.
Useless, yeah.
They would always end up getting knocked more than helping, so I'd always have to pick them up or just let them die.
They would get in my way a lot. They'd just go right in front of my line of fire. Like, you assholes, move.
Yeah, from what my friend was saying, though, the best way to play this is co-op, which makes sense with how terrible the UI is.
Yeah, that was another big selling point to Gears of War, was the co-op aspect of it. Very fun to play with multiple people, for sure. Shall we get into the story?
Yeah, let's get to the plot. Let's get to Emergence Day.
Okay, Joey, let me know. What was Emergence Day?
Well, it's 14 years before we start. Emergence Day is when this Locust horde came out and started killing fucking everybody. And then the game starts off with you being Marcus in a jail.
Does it ever say why he was in jail?
I mean, they called him a traitor, but I don't know. I don't know if they actually went into it. I didn't get far enough in the game to know if they did explain it.
I think it was just like he left his post and was like, you're going to prison. And he was there for, I don't know how many years. He was there, they implied he was there a while.
And the prison's all like destroyed, and he implied that he was like being tortured there when those bodies were hanging when you opened the door. That's a lovely place.
Yeah, he makes jokes about being in prison a lot throughout the game. He's like, man, maybe at least in prison I got like 3 hots and a tot. I was like, oh, shut up. The dialogue in this game is just filled with shit like that.
which is lovely. I'm sure they probably talk about it more in maybe other games.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't played 2, 3, or 4. I play 5. I know where it kind of ends up. I don't know how we got to there, but
If I can look it up.
I mean, I'm sure they go into like a bunch of backstory and whatever. But yeah, you're this macho burly guy, Marcus, and his dad is like the leader of the resistance or some shit, and you have to find this weapon called a resonator, and it will map out essentially the tunnel systems of the locusts, and that will then allow them to set off what's called a light mass bomb, which will destroy, I guess, the heart of the locust horde somewhere in the earth. That's my understanding. Let's see. So you get the resonator. It doesn't quite work, and then the team has to go to Marcus's father's place, in which he suspiciously has like the entire network of tunnels just like on his computer, which is very strange. You're like, hold on, why does he have this?
Well, his father's the reason why he went to prison.
Well,
because he abandoned his post to save his father, or try to save his father, and then he was sentenced to 40 years in prison for
40?
Yeah, after 10 years of fighting the horde, he left his post to try to save his father, and that sentence 40 years.
Well then.
That's why he's a big old traitor.
Should have let his dad die.
Whatever. That's a long prison sentence, but I guess they didn't really need soldiers until they needed him and had to break him out.
Okay. Yeah, so you essentially it's cover fire throughout the game. It's there is a vehicle section that you do play through, which was very brief. It didn't really mean much. Kind of an annoying. What were those like bat creatures that would attack you in the dark called? You remember?
No idea. I don't remember any of their names.
WR. I don't think they were wraiths.
Wraiths? Okay, wraiths I think were the fast four-legged dudes.
Yeah, the ones that would climb on the ceiling and such.
Yeah. I think those were the wraiths, yeah.
I don't remember any winged enemies.
Yeah, so there's a weird little cutscene where the sun goes down, and when the sun goes down, these whatever these things are called, I'll just call them bats. These bats will come out at night, and if you are out of the light, they will immediately swarm and attack you and kill you. And they even do that to the locusts too. So there's a cool little section where you can actually kind of shoot out lights. It's not really totally a thing in the game, but you have to go light to light, otherwise these things will kill you. And even the locusts, they're trying to flank you, and because the AI is kind of stupid in this game, you can position yourself to be flanked, and then those things will take them out. So I got a kick out of that part.
Krill?
Krill, yeah. It's called the Krill.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Yeah, they feed on humans and locusts.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they're like bat winged things come out. Very, very interesting enemy in the game. So that was cool. There's the vehicle section. You have like a spotlight that fries them, because I think the light just makes them erupt in flames. That happens.
Sounds like they've been watching Pitch Black.
Yeah, kind of, right? Exactly. Yeah, I bet that
just
was
Vin Diesel. This game would have been so much cooler with Vin Diesel.
Well, I mean, isn't that just Marcus? Isn't he just Vin Diesel?
He needs Vin Diesel's voice to make it complete.
Yeah. Let's see. So there's not as many like massive enemies that I thought were gonna be in this game. There's only a few instances throughout this like 10-hour journey that
Yeah, I
You
thought
fight
there
him?
would be more.
and there was nothing special about destroying them. In the cave system, there's one that comes out. You just kind of shoot its legs, and it push back, and then you shoot out these this platform, and then it just falls down into lava. Of course, he stands like right next to the cliff, and he's like, says some one-liner, pops out, and he just still standing there, just going, hope he likes melted cheese or some shit. I forget the line. It's something cheesy. How far did you guys get?
I only played about an hour and a half, so I got like Act 1.
So you didn't even get to the Krill part.
No.
Yeah, me either.
Krill's
I played like maybe 2 hours.
Yeah, Krill's like a couple hours in. Yeah.
I actually tried the hardcore difficulty to start, but after an hour of getting curb stomped at least 3 or 4 times per checkpoint, I finally said fuck. I finally said fuck it and restarted on casual.
Oh man.
I just wanted to get through.
Casual's not a bad way to play because there's almost a sense the game is very testosterone heavy, where you just have these guns and you want to feel powerful. So playing
big
on
hulking dudes with big hulking armor and big fucking guns.
Yeah,
where's Doom Guy when you need him?
Playing on casual isn't a bad gig for this. I just played on normal. That was boring. Because so often with these first and third person shooter games is when you up the difficulty, it just takes more bullets to take down an enemy.
Yeah, that really annoys me.
Yeah,
but
I really wish they'd do more like Rare.
Game. What's that?
I really
Joey?
wish
the difficulty works differently in the second game we'll talk about.
Oh,
well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't like about the game was, I mean, the color scheme was a lot of browns and grays with the occasional bit of red and blue. But that caused a pet peeve of mine, is that it's really hard to tell who's an enemy and who's an ally from a distance.
Yeah, they're all
unless you press the left bumper.
It's just like, hey, big meathead versus another meathead. Who am I shooting?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think friendly fire damages your allies at all. I couldn't remember, but at the same time, I want to hit the enemies. I don't want to just be shooting my allies like an idiot, almost letting the enemy advance and then getting my ass kicked.
Right. I thought there was a decent number of unique enemies, as in they built sections to have these unique. So we already talked about the Krill. There were the Berserkers, which had a pretty rad introduction where you're like in a church and it's unleashed and a couple dudes in your platoon kind of freak out and the Berserker rips them in half. It reacts to essentially sound and then just charges at you, so you have to position it to break through various walls. That was really cool. Then you, of course, use the Hammer of Dawn to beat it because it's super powerful. Guns don't really affect it. But even the Locusts don't have really any control over them, so they just kind of get to an area and then they just release it. Kind of speaks to the level of the Locust. What is that Star Trek enemy? With the hive mind?
I don't know.
Know what I'm talking about?
No.
All right, hold on.
Star Trek. Hive mind?
Yeah. Because the it's like
the hive mind.
Oh, is that really what they're called?
No,
the Borg.
Hive...
It's called the Borg.
The Borg.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Borg.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah. The Borg are one single mind, which is sometimes represented by the Queen, and I think the Gears of War took a lot from this Star Trek movie, or in the universe of Star Trek, like specifically the Borg. That's what it really reminded me of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering what Picard was known as Locust of Borg, so maybe they did take a lot from it.
Wait, Locust of Borg?
That's what, at least on the Wikipedia page on his photo, Patrick Stewart as Locust of Borg.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Locutus.
Locutus. Was close enough.
Yeah, that can't be an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. That also reminds me of System Shock too.
Right? Yeah.
All the enemies in there were of a hive mind.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, so for like enemies and uniqueness, I thought the game did a good job of making like introductions and certain aspects feel special. They even revisited a couple times throughout the game. They don't do the thing where you have this boss fight with them essentially, and then later in the game you have to fight them like they're a normal enemy now. I don't really like that aspects of game. You get that kind of in I think it's like Dark Souls. You definitely get it in like a Mega Man game in that aspect where you fight all the bosses and then there's that gauntlet where you have to fight them all again at the end. It's like, oh, just because I know how to beat them now doesn't mean I'm any good at it. That aspect. So I thought Gears of War did a good job with that. So you didn't get to this part, but I must bring it up. In the Ultimate Edition, there is a moment in between where you have to save the light mass bomb. It's on a train, and it's on a course heading to where it is, but the Locusts are attacking it, and you just escaped running away from this like massive Locust enemy with like missiles on its head and all kinds of shit. So it's a wild enemy and it's chasing you. It's when you just leave the father's house. And the game approaches this bridge that's out and you have to restore electricity power. This section of the game in between getting to the train and or destroying that enemy with the missiles on its head and shit. So in between the house and that point, apparently this game, this section was added into the Ultimate Edition, and the quality just gets cut in half. The graphics aren't as good. The enemies are even dumber. There's now too many enemies, and they swarm you over and over again. The hitboxes are even worse. Like the sniper I found absolutely worthless, and there's a lot of enemies just out in the distance. The ammo is now scarce all of a sudden. The one time out of the two that I ran out of ammo was in this section, so I was just running around with a shotgun for a good amount of time. I died constantly because the hitboxes were bad. There's even a section where you come out from a cutscene, and your ally NPC is right in front of you with a cover, and I died twice just coming out of that cutscene because I couldn't get to the cover because the NPC was there. And the enemies just fired on me and threw a missile in my face. So this section is so atrocious. Just the dip in quality is amazing. How this was, and I looked it up. The reasoning was they wanted a little extra gameplay in there to encourage people to get the Ultimate Edition, and having this whole section to explain how they got from point A to point B, rather than just say they drove away and then encountered the enemy again. There was a whole sequence of events that led to meeting this giant enemy again.
There's actually 5 chapters added in the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, that's this whole section that I'm talking about. Yeah, fun. It's like Act 4, like all of it. All of Act 4 is added. It amounts to about another hour and a half of gameplay. Make that 2 hours for me because I just died so much in this section. I don't think I've ever experienced something where they add something in the game in post and it's worse. Quite like this. It was wild. The train section's like fucking rad to end it. You're just like, oh, the game's good again. So when you get to that point, okay. That just tells me that the original was better and didn't need this section. What else? Were we missing anything in this game?
We haven't talked about the funny duck running that they do whenever you sprint.
Oh, yeah.
Because it made me laugh every time.
Yeah, the camera zooms in a bit.
He hunched over, kind of like...
Not to mention the shaky cam. There's a lot of shaky cam in this game.
Yeah. I didn't really mind it. It gave a sense
to the atmosphere.
Yeah, it gave it a good sense of atmosphere.
I guess it made it more cinematic.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to pass the game.
Well, considering I beat it, I pass it.
Yeah, I pass it too.
Okay. Gears of War. Good stuff. I can totally see why this franchise took off, and it sold really well. How much did this sell? Let's see.
A lot.
Marketing. Race to E3. Yeah,
it sold 1 million copies in 2 weeks.
Wow.
It was the fastest selling Xbox 360 game to date.
Wow.
3 million in 10 weeks. November 2008, game sold 5.88 million copies.
Yeah, that's a great success.
Yeah, I would say so.
Especially for a first go at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got rave reviews like in the 90s, A+.
Yeah, I remember when it came out. It was huge.
Oh, there was like branching paths in this game. Forgot to mention. Not a big deal. Just pick one. Neither matters.
Yeah, like in the prison. Hey, do you want to learn how to play the game or do you want to get right into it?
Yeah, just get right into it.
Yeah. I'll learn on the way.
I'll learn in time. Okay.
I mean, next game. Stalker.
Oh my God.
Shadow of Chernobyl. Developed by GSC Game World and published by THQ.
I've heard of THQ.
This game came out 20th of March in 2007. So just retro enough.
GSC tried to get a contract for Warcraft 3, but failed.
Interesting. Sad they failed. So this game, it actually is based off a novel, and they took the name from a movie that was based off the novel. And the movie and novel both came out before the Chernobyl, I guess, meltdown. So that's interesting. So the plot of this one is you're after the second incident at Chernobyl. I think it's 6 years have passed.
So we're fighting a war in the Ukraine, Joey.
Yeah, which I'll get into that too, because the second one, Stalker 2, is actually being postponed indefinitely because of the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's you woke up with amnesia because that was the thing to do around this time.
Yeah, as you do.
You have one mission to kill. What was the guy's name?
S.T.A.L.K.E.R.
And I mean, spoiler alerts. Turns out you are S.T.A.L.K.E.R. So you were sent to kill yourself, which is interesting. If you want to go hive mind, there is hive mind in this as well. The wish maker is actually truly a hive mind. It grants your wish by absorbing you into the hive mind, and you live out whatever reality you want for that wish. So you don't really get the wish, but you think you do, and you can join the hive mind.
Maybe that's your actual theme.
It could have been. I didn't even put two and two together. I didn't discover that they both have hive mind until after playing. So, so yeah, you woke up and you just go around doing missions. There is a storyline. There's a lot of secondary missions. It's a really hard game, and the way the difficulty works, it actually might be easier to go harder because bullet damage is decreased the easier you go for you and your enemy. So it takes more bullets to kill you, but more bullets to kill them. If you go harder, it takes less bullets. And saving your resources is kind of a key thing in this game. So going harder does make combat harder, but makes you save your bullets for longer, so it makes it easier in that sense. So, yeah. Bullets do more damage for you and them. The first gun you get is absolutely terrible, so you definitely need to kill people to get something better. I do like all the little radiation areas that you can walk into and take damage, but dogs and pigs can get like demolished in them. The environment lives on. Like there's some scenes where there's other stalkers fighting dogs. You can sit back and just let them fight and then clean up. But then you, lose the stalkers to help you in other fights, but you can take all their loot. Or you can join in and fight the dogs and use up all your resources, or you can actually help the dogs and kill the stalkers. But there's also other things, like if you kill a dog, there's a submission where you have to kill a dog, and when you come back later, there's other dogs eating that body, so it, like, the environment, I guess, evolves and reacts to what's going on, which is pretty cool.
Did this come out before Fallout 3 by chance?
Fallout 3 came out 2008, so yeah.
Interesting, because when I was playing this, it reminded me a lot of Fallout 3.
Yeah,
I think it has more in common with Fallout New Vegas.
Well,
yeah, people do call this the Ukrainian Fallout.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, I wasn't crazy.
I mean, it is a radioactive world that you have scarce resources, and yeah, there's, I guess, marauders or bandits that you have to fight. So yeah, it's very similar.
Funny, there's also Metro 2033, which is also based on a Russian novel.
Isn't this like a prequel to like the Metro? Or let me start over. The Metro people made this game Stalker, and Metro is based on everything they made through this game. Is that right? Is that my understanding?
I'm not sure, because I know Metro is a different novel series. That one is post-nuclear war, but the first novel, they're all living inside the subway system in Russia. So, I mean, a lot of nuclear war type games in that area, which understandable.
Yeah, I think a good chunk of the team that made Stalker made the Metro series that we know today.
Interesting.
I think that's right.
Oh, let's see here. After this, the game missing release, publisher THQ sent Dan Sharp, the later CEO of Metro developer. Yeah, so Dan Sharp became CEO of 4A Games that developed Metro.
Okay. So it was like one dude, and he
probably brought people over.
Yeah, he probably brought like a team together. Okay. Well, that makes sense, because I was playing Metro, and I'm like, I've played Metro before. Like, this is very similar. So I was getting Fallout and Metro vibes. Metroid vibes would be weird.
I really like this game, even though I didn't really like the combat. I liked everything else about it.
I hated the combat. It was so hard and difficult, and I'm just like on roads looking through binoculars all the time, and then I just get shot, because that's what happens in these games. I died, and I don't know where to go. I was so confused for the major chunk of time. The non-linear aspect was kind of cool. It's very Fallout-esque.
Yeah. I like the RPG elements, but I also like that they didn't add in like experience or things like that. It's just, hey, here's some quest, here's some inventory management. Go have fun.
The inventory was very scary. It's so big. It's like the entire screen. I don't know what I'm doing. It's a PC game, so obviously I'm terrible at it. I couldn't get a controller to work. I had a bad time, so it made it even harder for me. I put it on easy mode. That didn't help. Now I know why.
Sucked. Right. Gave me flashbacks to Resident Evil and System Shock 2, personally. By the way, we have covered System Shock 2 in a previous episode, for the sake of the audience.
Yeah, good stuff. I don't recall the episode.
It's sci-fi horror. That was my pick.
Yeah, but what episode?
Well, this is a survival horror, so...
Yeah, it's kind of sci-fi. I mean,
it definitely has some sci-fi things with radioactive monsters and shit. the dogs and pig things.
And those little reality distortions.
Yeah, and then the zombie like people you'd kill. Yeah, there's definitely sci-fi.
Episode 87 was System Shock 2. That was the one.
Yeah.
Man.
That was a fun episode.
I don't have much to say about this game because I was really bad at it. It was really hard for me. Couldn't get a controller to work, so it was even worse. And I put it down after like an hour.
I had some issues with the game crashing on me. It doesn't really seem to like my
It was
computer.
janky AF.
Yeah, there's a lot of bugs into it. It's not very polished. Like they did a lot with the environment, and then like gameplay and their shooting kind of got thrown in there. Felt like so I had to save like every 5 minutes just so I wouldn't have to replay the first starting thing over and over again because I kept crashing.
Oh my god!
I finally was able to get it to work for about an hour and a half. So I just ran around. Didn't do too much of the main story, but I did a lot of side quests and I just ran around to check out cool areas. I like it. I like the atmosphere.
I actually didn't have too much trouble running it. I was playing the good old games version and never once crashed on me. But
that might have been better.
I had a bit of a rough start with it because I didn't know how to click on the dialogue response options with that initial trader guy.
Yeah, me too. Because it's like, ooh, trade, and I was like, okay, what do I do? I'm stuck in this room. Why?
Yeah, I had to watch a YouTube video to find out how to advance. And even after that, I found it kind of dull. I mean, I can see how people would enjoy playing it. Same, like we said before, same appeal that the Fallout games hold. But maybe I'm just not in the right mood for sandbox games that rapidly stack up your to-do list in a nuclear wasteland.
That's a way to put it. Did they? Okay. I'm obviously not familiar with the deepness of this game. Unlike Gears of War, now I'm a Gears of War expert, not a Stalker expert. What the fuck is the zone? Is that where?
It's just the containment zone.
Okay.
The exclusion zone.
And the enemies can now like jump at you, and you have because the aiming is so fucked up in this game that they just kill you all the time. Is that how the zone works?
I mean, the zone just is the exclusion zone, and then like there's a bunch of people. Like I think a bunch of the enemies you fight are trying there to like get like steal shit and leave. So I don't know. It's a lot of enemies just jump out and kill you.
Okay, yeah. I was wondering if I was doing something wrong.
No, I mean it's the whole thing is like you will kind of want to be stealthy because the combat kind of sucks. But I don't think it was meant to be like a full-on shoot 'em up type thing. You're not supposed to run in gun to blazing. You can also run away from the enemies and then hide and then try to go back.
You can hide?
Eventually, there's on the bottom left. It shows you have a sound meter. That's the purple one, and the white one is if you're being seen. So, well, it's not 100% stealthy because they always seem to see you. No matter what I did, they seem to find me.
Oh, good. So it has a mechanic that doesn't work.
Not too well, yeah.
It's like Uncharted 3.
Apparently, there's also a bug that like it looks like they're not aiming at you, but they're shooting sideways out of their gun, so they're actually shooting at you.
Well then.
So it's a very buggy game, but I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a YouTube review of it, and there does seem to be some cool stuff in there. Like you said, the atmosphere looks really good. I mean, there's these segments, you're in the middle of a thunderstorm, lightning flashing as you're fighting off a black smoky creature with glowing eyes. That looked really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot to like to it. There's a lot to hate about it. So it depends on if you like the things more than the things you hate.
Yeah.
So
personally, I gotta fail this one.
I fail it. It was really hard, and I couldn't play it. Made me upset.
I'm passing it. I mean, the combat sucks, but I can see why you would fail it.
Okay, then. Mission accomplished.
So, first person, third person. In this case, third person was better because first person, they didn't even care about the actual shooting or part of the shooter game
Third person was indeed better this time.
this time.
Okay. Colin, what are your tiers?
I give Gears of War a B. And I give Stalker a C. Though I forgot to mention, it's got some nice attention to detail here and there. Like whenever you go up and talk to somebody, it's best not to have your gun in his face.
Sure, yeah. People react differently when you have a gun in their face. I'm not speaking from experience, I swear. Okay, I will go. This is going to surprise people. I'm going an A on Gears of War, and then I'll go D on Stalker. I didn't like this game. It has good qualities to it, but considering I couldn't play it, it's janky as fuck. A bad time.
I will also give an A to Gears of War.
A.
And I give a B to Stalker. I liked it. I can get over all the things wrong with it.
That defaults to a C.
And I'll wait for whenever Stalker 2 comes out, however many years it might take now.
Yeah, that I might check out. Because modern era, I imagine it would be way better. How long is Stalker? Let's see.
Stalker 2 is supposed to come out in April this year, but then they decided to upgrade to real Unreal Engine 5.
Oh my god, this game is like 20 hours.
Well, yeah, I can see that if you do everything.
Holy
I'm pretty
shit.
sure you could probably just do the main quest and cut down the time.
That is just the main story.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
It's saying main plus extra is like 26.
Oh, man.
That's brutally long.
Yeah. I'll probably play Metro 2033 in the meantime. I've got a copy of it for my Xbox 360.
Okay. I didn't mention the price, though, but if you want a copy of Gears of War on your Xbox 360, it's about like $5. It's very cheap.
Yeah, Stalker's about $23 Canadian on GOG.
It was $20 on Steam.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Like I said, $23 Canadian.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will mention one game we will be playing next time. I need to come up with a theme. I will make this work. I've talked about this in the past, is directly comparing Resistance versus Gears of War, because they came out essentially at the same time as each other, and they both became shooter trilogies exclusive to the console, PS3 versus 360. So next episode, we'll do that game. I need to figure out a second one and a theme. But I've always wanted to do that comparison to each other, and now's a good time.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. This was episode... What episode was this? 110?
110.
110. This was episode 110. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye now.